My name is Francesco Sarracino, and I'm Senior Economist at the National Institute of Statistics and Economic Studies of Luxembourg, where I lead the research unit on well-being and entrepreneurship. The title of my seminar today is Neo-humanism for Sustainable Urban Futures. In a nutshell, neo-humanism proposes a comprehensive narrative to build socially and environmentally sustainable economies in which people can lead satisfactory lives. And I will argue that cities have an important role to play to start the change. There are little doubts that we are literally eating the planet. The rising CO2 emission, material use and extraction, the loss of biodiversity, ocean and soil acidification, you name it, they all point to the unsustainability of current development model. Why is it so? There are two prevalent explanations. The first one suggests that people don't care. They want it all and they want it now. If leading comfortable life means destroying the planet, so be it. The second explanation suggests that people do not know how bad things are. If only they knew, they would behave differently. Either way, it is their fault. They need to be forced, nudged, coerced to adopt sustainable behaviors. Considering how things are going, clearly this strategy is not working. And I believe this is because of our poor understanding of what pushes people to adopt unsustainable behaviors in the first place. To begin with, I do not think that people do not know or do not care about the environment. For instance, a survey administered for the UNDP in 2021 revealed that at least 60% of respondents worldwide in rich and poor countries, elderly and poor people, believe in climate emergency. Another survey conducted in 2022 revealed that 75% of respondents worry about climate change. What is perhaps less known is that modern societies are not just environmentally unsustainable, but also socially. Social cohesion is at stake in many modern societies, and people's ability to cooperate to address collective issues is diminishing. For instance, we observe declining trust in others and in institutions, and social participation in groups and associations is decreasing in both developed and developing countries. This points to a crisis of democracy and of social cohesion that are key to understanding why modern societies don't manage to be sustainable. In fact, unsustainability can be the result of two ingredients: awareness of environmental decay and the impossibility of collective action. The more people are aware of the environmental decay, the more they can adopt unsustainable behaviors. This paradox is possible when cooperation is impossible. Think about it. Protecting the environment is a matter of collective effort. But if I do not trust that everybody will do their part in this collective effort, I will turn to private, individual solutions in order to protect myself and my dear ones against the uncertainty of the future. If everyone adopts the same behavior, the sum of all our behaviors end up worsening the problem we're trying to fix. When cooperation is impossible, collective problems become hunting ground for business opportunities that, however, provide private, individual solutions without fixing the public problem we are trying to address. For example, if we are lonely because we have little opportunities and time to meet others, the booming loneliness industry promises to satisfy all our needs without, however, fixing the initial problem that made us feel lonely even if we are living surrounded by millions of other people. If the place where we live becomes polluted, we can install filters for purify air, water, or even better, we can relocate to more pristine environments and choose to commute every day by car to go to work in order to protect ourselves against pollution. In all these cases, we are adopting individual, private solutions to cope with the negative consequences of collective problems. However, the sum of all our individual actions end up worsening the problem we are trying to address. Seen from this point of view, unsustainability is the result of a huge coordination failure. The impossibility of collective action to address collective problems stimulates private consumption and environmental degradation. The economy grows because of people's attempts to cope with environmental degradation, and anxiety about the future pushes people to adopt unsustainable behaviors. These are three elements of a self-reinforcing vicious cycle that creates formidable consumers, probably all unhappy, unhealthy, overworked, lonely, stressed, and all obsessed by money and consumption. What I'm describing here is a society in which money is central in people's lives, because what they can or cannot do depends increasingly on the amount of money they own. From this point of view, the growth of individual income, which in aggregate terms is economic growth, loses its appeal as a measure of progress. But the change is possible. Neo-humanism suggests that we can promote sustainability by prioritizing well-being. The main idea is that we should focus our policy efforts on promoting well-being directly, rather than investing in economic growth in the hope that it will eventually benefit people's well-being. And we know quite a lot about what matters for people's well-being. This is why I claim that change is possible. Neo-humanism builds on evidence from various studies and different disciplines, suggesting that we can shift from income as a preeminent measure of well-being to prioritizing well-being. That is to say, to put humans at the center of decision-making and to decouple consumption from well-being. Evidence suggests that promoting social relations is a way to durably improve people's well-being. And as advertisement experts know well, happy people consume less than others. Social relations are also necessary to establish meaningful relations, to learn to trust others and to build cooperation, which then can be important for addressing collective issues. Also, envy, what social scientists call social comparisons, matter less for the well-being of people with rich social lives. As social comparisons are an important engine of consumption, especially conspicuous consumption, promoting social relations promises to reduce, if not shut down, an important engine of consumption. This will benefit social and environmental sustainability. On the other hand, living in greener and more sociable environment contributes to well-being, and greater well-being has a number of desirable consequences. For instance, happier people live longer and healthier lives, and this can be desirable for the sustainability of public budgets in aging societies. But happier people are also more productive. A study I contributed to with colleagues from the Statistical Office revealed that increasing life satisfaction by 1 unit can lead to productivity gains that are equivalent to nearly 80 working hours per year. That is to say, we could all work nearly 2 weeks less per year while leaving our output unchanged. This means that promoting well-being can liberate resources that can be used to, for instance, reduce the working week or finance policies for well-being and social cohesion. All this while maintaining the economic output unchanged, that is to say, without sacrificing people's well-being. This means that we can ultimately decouple consumption and income from well-being. This will benefit people and contribute to socially and environmentally compatible economies, economies that do not grow because of defensive needs, but that are fed by creativity. Economies that might grow slower compared to traditional standards, but that are better suited to support people's quality of life. How can we promote the change? There is plenty of intervention areas, and cities can play an important role to kickstart the change. Urban centers is where people gather to organize their lives together, not just to produce and consume. This is why cities are at the center of sustainability issues. The literature on urban planning is ripe with examples of how the built environment can affect people's ability to interact with others, establish meaningful relations, and lead satisfactory and healthy lives. For instance, the simple act of dog walking fosters social relations, but you need walkable urban spaces. On the contrary, many modern cities are characterized by urban sprawl, disconnected streets, scattered houses, high vehicle dependency, which are not suitable to establish social relations and accentuate inequalities. The elderly, children, people with disability are the most disadvantaged and vulnerable ones, and their ability to socialize depends on the time and availability of others, thus adding to collective stress and pressure on time. However, cities can become incubators of social relations, well-being, and sustainability. Developing multi-use green spaces, comprehensive active transportation networks, Co-designing public spaces and amenities are some guiding principles for urban initiatives to start the neo-humanism virtuous cycle. Something as simple as creating green, safe, public urban spaces where people can gather, create opportunities to establish social relations, cultivate a sense of belonging and community to the benefit of people's well-being. These principles have been recognized in urban design since long and have been successfully applied in many cases. For instance, social urbanism is an approach that links urban development with social policies. Its principles have been applied in many slums in Latin America. The cases of Medellin, of Favela Bairro are well known, but also in Europe. Think about the super blocks in Barcelona. Anecdotal and qualitative evidence suggests that these initiatives have had significant positive impact on social cohesion, reducing criminality and promoting the well-being of locals. The real impact, especially in the global south, is difficult to establish due to lack of data. However, the example from London can provide an idea of the potential of this kind of intervention. Since 2015, the London Borough of Waltham Forest has implemented a number of low-traffic neighborhoods. That is to say, area-based interventions that removed through motor traffic from residential areas to the benefit of pedestrians, cyclists, and other forms of soft mobility. A study published in 2021 analyzed the impact of the low-traffic neighborhoods on criminality and found that the implementation of the reform correlated with a decrease by nearly 10% in criminality in the neighborhoods. Here we're talking about crimes such as possessions of weapons, violence and sexual assault, burglary, arson, vehicle thefts. The magnitude of the reduction increases with the greater the length since the introduction of the low-traffic neighborhoods, reaching minus 18% after 3 years from the implementation. Another study published in 2020 identified that the implementation of the low-traffic neighborhood correlated with an increase by nearly 20% in the amount spent walking within the neighborhood. That is to say, if before the intervention people were walking on average an hour, now they were walking about 15 minutes more. Importantly, there was no crime subcategory that diminished in the low-traffic neighborhoods and was observed to increase in the adjacent zones. That is to say that the implementation of the low-traffic neighborhoods correlated with a decrease in criminality, not with exporting it. In summary, neo-humanism offers a comprehensive blueprint for urban planning and policies to promote resilient, sustainable, and thriving cities grounded on equity and collective responsibility. What does this mean in practice? One step to kickstart the change is to design cities that are people-centered, focusing on inclusivity, social justice, and ecological balance. We should organize our urban spaces to reduce inequality, promote green infrastructure, and strengthen community bonds. In fact, the sum of private solutions to address collective problems is at the origin of unsustainability. Relying on individual solutions often worsens inequality and fails to address systemic issues. So we need to rediscover the importance of addressing collective problems together. Neo-humanism prioritizes people over markets and recognizes that the quality of growth matters. Economic growth can benefit everybody or only a few. It can contribute to healthy communities or weaken the bonds between people. This is why it contributes to satisfactory lives in some cases, but not in others. A creativity-led economy that prioritizes people's well-being leads to social and environmental sustainability. And this is great news for the future of our planet, because it suggests that people don't need to be coerced to adopt desirable behaviors. They need to be empowered to act pro-socially and pro-environmentally by prioritizing their well-being. The recipes may differ from country to country, but the guiding principle will hold both in the North and in the Global South. Thank you so much for your attention.